Cybersecurity Risk Assessment for New Zealand's team. New Zealand has just suffered an intrusion attack at the Global Economic Summit. While steps are being taken to address the attack, other measures need to be addressed as well. To start, current measures in place for systems authentication, authorization, and access control are discussed. Secondly, any organizational weaknesses will be discussed. Then I will briefly discuss the attack vectors and attribution analysis and vulnerability matrix. Finally, I will share recommendations for addressing the risks found. Authentication is a means of validating a person is who they say they are. Current measures in place for user authentication is the standard username and password log in combination. After the user is authenticated, authorization verifies what system resources the user has on the network. User authorization is verified using group policy rules set forth within Active Directory. Each user on the network has access based on the office he or she works in and their role within the organization. Authorization is semi-tied to access control. Access control determines what user with login credentials is able to access on the network or in the organization. This prevents users from accessing data and/or resources he or she should not be accessing. The use of a common access card is used to address each of these measures above in place. A CAT card is used to allow users to log on to the network with a PIN while simultaneously implementing authorization and access control methods. An SQL injection is an attack vector on a hardware system. It allows the attacker to inject malicious code or extract sensitive information from the backend without detection. IP spoofing allows the attacker to hide its true IP header information and impersonate an authorized system. Denial of service and distributed denial of service is an operating system and telecommunications-based attack where the attacker overloads a targeted system with traffic in an attempt to disrupt service. Password sniffing software used by an attacker to extract files from a system that has users' credentials stored on it. A brute force attack then allows the attacker to use login credentials to log on a system remotely to access information. These are all weaknesses that have been identified within the organization and will be addressed in recommendations. The intrusion attack revealed to be a distributed denial of service attack. The IP address for the attack was registered in New York but originated in the Netherlands. Furthermore, the attacker also attempted to access a service on the network using a brute force attack. This is a vulnerability matrix that just shows what the current risks to the organization are and some emerging risks to pay attention to. The screenshot on the left currently shows the current risks that are being addressed. The screenshot on the right shows the emerging risk. The vulnerability matrix shows what each attack vector is, the date it was first published, its threat to the system, the categorization, the vulnerability, and the risk mitigation. It is highly recommended that some of the risks be reviewed for mitigation. There are risks that are easily addressed with a few policy changes. The organization will ensure that every system has an active antivirus software program running to prevent and detect malicious software from being installed and run on the network. Intrusion detection and prevention system tools are in place to detect and prevent the attacker's ability to install malware, trojans, and social engineering schemes on the organization's systems. Users will be made aware of the cyber threats that are current and emerging in the cybersecurity world so that they are aware of things to look for. A strong password policy will be enforced with minimum requirements established. Finally, access control management policy will be reviewed every quarter. Furthermore, an addendum will be added stating that when an employee changes positions that requires less or more privileges, proper access should be removed and/or added as appropriate within 3 days. Access will be removed by the end of the day when the employee leaves the organization.